it's common for a producer on Beatstars to sell an exclusive beat around $1,000,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
That means Apple is taking $300 and leaving the producer with $700.
Apple is trying to push us to completely change our business model.
We actually finally have a guest. We haven't had a guest for a long time. I think
it's not just a guest. It's the general of BeatStars. This is not just a guest.
Let me start over then. Over. Jesus Lord. What's going down? It's the music. I'm still putting that in there. What's going down? It's the Music Entrepreneur. You threw me all the way off. Music Entrepreneur Club podcast, episode 61. I'm the official announcer. I guess I shouldn't be. I think my job title's about to shift after this intro. What's going down? Episode 62. We have a very special guest. Not just any guest. Not just any special guest. He's the man himself. Producers know him for creating a platform that gave so many thousands, tens of thousands of us a livelihood. Abe, what's going down? Abe from Beatstars.
But just to give you a heads up, Abe, we got feedback from some of our listeners on Instagram, and they said that we need to be more entertaining. So if at any point during this podcast, Payne just breaks out into dance and song, we're just trying to get more listeners.
Oh, okay.
So that they're also entertained and educated instead of just education. So
yeah, well, Dame is going to talk in a kooky voice. He's going to use really crazy and wacky vocal inflections just so that these people that would complain if we didn't provide substance and are still complaining because we don't have slide whistles playing every other second are happy. So, it's great that we get really good feedback.
I blame YouTube for all that.
The feedback is helpful. I mean, I kind of agree. I just am not going. I don't know. Maybe I'll put some auto tune. Does Yeti sell a mic with auto tune? Does he? Yeah. Maybe I. It's
a plugin. You just got to install it on. You got to route through a DAW or something. It's possible. Then we can make it happen. Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, every time Dame gets feedback from a viewer saying, "Why don't you guys higher energy? Why don't you jump around?" Dame's solution to that is starting the podcast and going, "So Payne, we got to be more higher energy. I need you to step it up."
Yep.
And so far that has worked beautifully, hasn't it?
Oh God. Okay.
All right. So where do we? So today.
Wait, hold up. So you guys got to listen, man. There's some YouTubers out there, adult men that make videos for like little children, and you should watch how they make like animal sounds and like And the gamer guys are always, my kids watch them all day long.
Yeah.
It's never enough. It's never enough that we dedicate our time.
Just be you, bro. Just be you.
I'll make animal sounds, Dame. You play Minecraft the whole time. How about that?
Got it. Okay, so today
and scream when things happen in the game.
So
loudly.
I think this will be an energetic podcast because Abe was pretty emotional about this topic. It's about Apple. I'm gonna let you kind of explain what's going down between BeatStars, Apple, and the app, and then we can ask some questions and figure out, what's going on and what's gonna happen going forward.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys didn't see, I tweeted out a situation that BeatStars is encountering right now with Apple, and it's not. I don't think it's just BeatStars. I think this is kind of I think Apple's taking a really aggressive approach right now with their developers, which I don't know why. I'm not on the insides of what's going on at Apple. I mean, I feel like they're feeling, I don't know, they might be feeling threatened of their business model, and they want to protect what they've built. But for us, like, I understand, like, okay, listen, no gripe against Apple having a business model that takes a certain percentage from digital content or features or like skins or anything like in the gaming community. You're always like, you're buying, like, with Fortnite, you're buying V-Bucks, right? And you're buying, with those V-Bucks, you're buying skins and you're buying items inside of the digital game. And that stuff is all profit, right? For the gaming community, right? That stuff is like not all profit. It takes development, and it does take, you know, a team to build these products. But for the most part, those are wholly owned products, right? Those are wholly owned products by the gaming community. They honestly, they can afford to give Apple that 30% for that convenience of an in-app purchase and accessibility inside the app. I think it's fine. I think the 30%, of course, is excessive. So our issue, just to kind of take it back from the beginning, guys, is that Apple is coming to us a year later, after we've gone through the approval process and laid out what the functionality of BeatStars is and what we're doing and the type of business model that we've created, and then also have explained to them our 12-year existing business model that lives on BeatStars, right? So this is not like, BeatStars, you know, doesn't take a fee, right? We just don't, you know, and we've been doing that for so many years. And so Apple is trying to push us to completely change our business model. They feel like they're entitled to 30% of every transaction inside of our app, and they want to force us to use the in-app purchasing mechanism that is available, you know, for all developers. But there is a loophole, not a loophole, but it's part of their business model, right? That they've strictly, like, you know, they've put it out there for, you know, inside of all their guidelines and all of their, and this is what we were approved upon as well, right? When we were approved by Apple, you know, they agreed that BeatStars did not violate the App Store guidelines, and that we didn't need to give them 30% by incorporating their in-app purchases, and we can build our own payment mechanisms inside of the app, which is PayPal and Stripe. But the merchants inside of our app are actually our sellers, right? They're DJ Payne 1, and it's DJ Payne 1's PayPal and his Stripe that's processing these payments, right? And so, you know, and they approved us on that. And the reason they approved us on that was because we explained to them that studio production files are consumed in, like, you know, licenses for production music production are consumed outside of the app. So and that doesn't violate Apple's guidelines. So as long as the content, the goods and services that you're purchasing inside the app, just like with Amazon, when you buy a good or service inside of the Amazon store on the app, inside of their app, it's a physical good, and it's consumed outside of the app, right? And so Apple doesn't take a 30% fee from Amazon because of that. So we fell into the same bucket because our goods and services are consumed outside of the app. Our users are loading their studio files into their DAW, into their Logic, their FL Studio, their Pro Tools, whatever it is to record, that doesn't conflict with the functionality of our app. So we don't have a recording studio inside of BeatStars, and we purposely did that. We purposely did not want to create a creation mechanism inside of the app, because then we would be violating the App Store, and that we consciously did that, right? So we consciously did not. There's tons of great apps for recording and you know, creating songs and making beats and doing all that stuff. That's great. Let the professionals in the DAW world continue doing that. We're a marketplace. We're a discovery platform, and we're going to focus on what we do best. And what we do best is connecting, you know, producers and artists together to discover their next piece of production that they can use to record on in their home studio, or, you know, at a professional studio, which is you know, so this is, you know, and this is, guys, this is not to say next week maybe Apple changes their mind and says, okay, fine, you know, BeatStars doesn't violate, you know, so we're still going back and forth with them, you know, there's not like, you know, but they are taking that, like, very strong stance of, like, hey, you guys are violating, no matter what you say, they don't want to hear what we're saying. You guys are violating, and you need to change your whole business model. So they want us to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars hundreds of thousands of dollars to reconfigure our whole payment gateway, payment mechanism, our whole way that we process payments and then deliver those payments to our sellers, right? So BeatStars currently does not have, our users, our sellers are so used to getting paid at the point of transaction, getting paid directly to their merchant accounts, and they want us to create a whole new business model that we've never adopted, And it's one of the things that we're so proud of. Like, we're so proud of not dabbling in and being the middleman and everything that, the music industry has enough middlemen. Like, the music industry has enough middlemen. And I think that's been one of the greatest decisions I've ever made was stepping back and, providing this autonomous kind of like marketplace where our sellers are actually, their own merchants and their own content providers and own service providers within the BeatStars ecosystem. And I think that's what makes us so beautiful and so different than any other platform out there.
And it was so jarring. When I saw, just to put it into perspective, when I saw that 30% number, and you apply that to a sale that's not so uncommon. So it's common for a producer on BeatStars to sell an exclusive beat around $1,000, right?
Oh, yeah.
That means Apple is taking $300 and leaving the producer with $700.
I just don't understand it, man. Like, I know, listen, people were saying, well, without Apple, you wouldn't have been, able to get in front of that audience. And, but I think it's two-sided. Like, without the applications, Apple can't even create those audiences, right? And these applications are not built by Apple. We built these applications. These are just like the web application that lives on Beatstars.com inside the Google Chrome browser. We built the application that's in the App Store. We drove all of our users to download the app, right? We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars advertising and promoting this app to drive. Now we have over 1.5 million users on the app. You know what I mean? So it's like Apple didn't magically give us this audience. We paid for it, right? We paid for this audience. There are people. There are people. So it's like the phones are computer devices, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand the difference between a phone and a MacBook. I just don't get it. Like, if I'm accessing Beatstars.com on the web, is Google Chrome taking 30% of every transaction on my website because they're allowing people to access my website? I don't fucking get it. I just don't understand it, right?
Hey, and how much business, and maybe this is something you don't want to share on the podcast, but like, how many people are using their computers versus the app to do business? Is it like
it's 50-50 now? It's 50-50, and it's growing more towards the mobile side, man. Like, it's growing towards the mobile side. Like, the apps are going to generate close to $20 million this year for producers. $20 million. That's insane. Like, when you think about it, you give them 30%. What is that? 6 million?
Yeah, Apple wants that 6 million. 6 million.
So, but now I'm starting to realize it was all a fucking game. Now I'm starting to realize it was all a fucking game. Apple approved. I mean, I don't know. This is just kind of like hypothetical. I think Apple approved us. Let us build our business. Let us drive all of our users there, right? Get 1.5 million users on the app marketplace. Created a viable business, $20 million a year just on mobile, and they're like, oh shit, this is easy. Let's go grab that 6 million now. Right? Well, they did all the hard work. They did all the hard work. Now let's go snatch it up.
Isn't that what all the tech? Isn't that what Facebook did? Isn't that what Twitter did?
Yep, they all did that.
That's what all the tech companies do. So
but for us, Dame, it's so weird. It's so different because how can you you're not taking from me. You're not taking from me, right? You're not taking from BeatStars. Like, we don't have any skin in the game. Right. We don't have any. You're taking from our community, man. These are individual small businesses you're taking from. Individual small businesses. It It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, I understand, and I'm definitely on your side of the fence here. I just want to ask some questions. Not even devil's advocate.
For sure. Ask it. I may not be thinking of it in a
Is the issue 30% or is it any percentage at all?
No, I think, listen, technology companies, Apple has innovated in ways that we've never seen, right? The innovation that's been done on the iPhone and all of their devices is, it's mind blowing, man. Like how it's impacted society, how it's, impacted so many other businesses as well. It's crazy. Apple deserves a fee. But they should get a fee just like every other payment processor in the world, right? PayPal takes a 2.5% fee, right? All these other credit card processing companies like Stripe and all these other people, there's standard payment processing fees across the whole industry, right? This is not something new. This is before the App Store. So if we're going to use Apple's in-app purchasing payment system, take a transaction fee, Take a transaction fee. We'll use it. Even if it was up to 5%, like I don't think our community is going to cry over like a 5% transaction fee, and we'll figure out a way to redistribute that money through our new wallet system that we have, right? And that's fine. Our producers will be able to withdraw their funds on a daily basis or however we figure out a way to funnel the money from the in-app purchasing system into the BeatStars, system. And we can figure that out. But 30% is just too excessive, man. It's too excessive. Our community will not accept that. We don't even take a percentage, man. How am I going to have an outside company, a third-party company? How am I going to allow that? How am I going to look to our community? And I just gave away $6 million to them, from our producers' pockets, right? So we only have. Listen, we have 60 days to figure this out with them. So we have 60 days to figure it out with them. And there's a few options. There's a few options on the table. Remove paying for beats inside the app completely. Don't give any user the ability to purchase music, right? So we just avoid the purchasing process completely and just hope that our artist community, eventually goes to their Beatstars.com account or the pro page to buy from the producer, which I think they will. I think they're going to, like, if they fall in love with the beat, they're going to find a way to buy it somehow, right? Two is to tack on the 30% on top of the existing producer's price points. So if Payne is selling a beat for $30, tack on 30% on top of that and make the artist community buy it. That makes me feel like shit. I don't feel like it's right to pass on the 30% onto the recording artist. I don't feel like that's fair, or we get into a situation where, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in BeatStar Studio, we introduced this new kind of wallet system where you have your wallet to withdraw royalties. You have your BeatStars promote wallet. So, your promo credits, and then you have Beatcoins, your Beatcoins wallet. And so we're thinking possibly we can enforce that in order to make purchases inside the app, you have to fill up your Bitcoin wallet. And in order to fill up your Bitcoin wallet, you have to do that on Beatstars.com, right? We're not going to put that ability to make those kind of like purchases for digital coins inside the app. So we're thinking it through. My number one priority, of course, is, we've got our legal team on this. We've got, we're talking to the app review board. We're, appealing to them. I'm hoping that they will look at our business and look at the guidelines that they presented and, kind of backtrack, step back and say, okay, yeah, these guys, we made a mistake for flagging them. They don't violate our guidelines, our terms. Let's not do that. That's my first priority. The first priority is making sure that we can just keep the existing model, because if not, then it's gonna we're going to be scrambling to figure out a secondary model.
The guideline that you said before of if a product is consumed off of the app, then it wouldn't be taxed 30. Did they just change that, or did they just?
No, it's always been that way.
It's still there. I'm looking at it now.
What I'm saying is that did they decide that the products you make are actually consumed on the app? They make some argument that said it's consumed within the app.
They're trying to paint that picture. Yeah, they're trying to paint that picture that it's, that the content, the goods and services are consumed inside the app. That's what they're claiming. But
I don't know how they could do that, because you buy stems, it's a zip file. You can't even open a zip file on a mobile app. Certainly not the Beatstars mobile app. But yeah, I mean, that's what I was hearing from not a lot, but I think most producers get it, and they understand that this is an unfair situation. You had a couple, probably not even Beatstars users, who are just, they're pushing the narrative that this is just standard. It's standard. I heard all marketplaces take from their merchants. Number one,
not all.
Apple is not my marketplace. Beatstars is my marketplace. Apple is distributing an app that provides access to my marketplace. So, one, I don't consider them a marketplace at all, because you can't, as a merchant, sell directly on Apple the way a merchant can sell directly on eBay, can sell directly on Amazon, can sell directly on Walmart. Right. And the other element, two other elements, these are things that really bother me about this situation. The other element, too, is when someone says, well, this is just how all the merchants are, or the marketplaces are. They always take from their merchants. Let's put that into perspective, because Apple is asking for 30%. eBay takes 10%. Amazon has fees on a kind of sliding scale, so their individual plan is 99 cents per unit sold. Their professional plan is $39.99 a month with unlimited units sold. Walmart has the worst commission, but it starts at 6% and goes all the way up to 20%. So that's still not 30%.
But Payne, those are physical
products,
bro. Walmart has to store those fucking goods. Amazon has to store those fucking goods in warehouses. There's property that has to be purchased. There's facilities that have to be created. There's logistics and shipping, and there's much more. There's much more involved in the physical good space, where there's a lot of cost for Amazon to host those products.
Yeah, and Apple does none of those things, and so nothing. They deserve even less. And then we're all aware of.
But also, hey, I know we're talking about Apple. I know we're talking about Apple here. Yeah. Google's policies are the same as Apple's. They're the same. I know people say, Android. Yeah, people like Android gang. Like, yo, Android takes 30% too. They just follow Apple's suit. So when Apple knocks off an app off the App Store, or publicly goes after them like they're doing with Fortnite and Spotify and Netflix and all these other companies, that WordPress and all these other people, Google is just a follower. They're just waiting for Apple's review system to go through, and then they just follow suit. Right? So people think like Google's the same. Google's our savior. No, Google is the same shit. It's the same shit.
So all it's going to take is for Google to say, well, Apple decided to backtrack on their, because I mean, if you go on the developer guidelines right now, it says if your app enables people to purchase goods or services that will be consumed outside of the app, you must use purchase methods other than the in-app purchase to collect those payments. That's what you do. And it also says these apps are free for users to download and blah, blah, blah. Developers earn 70% of sales from in-app purchases. So that's literally all that needs to be said. So there are a lot of people out there saying, well, this is just how it is. No, it's not how it is. But there's no ambiguity here. It's very clearly says if your products are consumed outside of the app, which they are, period. There's no studio in the app. You're not consuming beats within the app. There's no unzip function within the BeatStars app. It's pretty clear cut.
Yeah.
These rules. All they have to do is enforce their own policies.
I think just Apple's going through like their top 1,000 apps, right, or top few thousand apps. They're just they're being very aggressive. They're just going after everybody, whether they follow the guidelines or whether they not. They're just trying to put fear in people, and they're trying to shoot their shot right now because everyone's kind of like villainizing them, right? And and they're taking the approach of bully rather than like, oh, let's sit down with BeatStars, let's sit down with Netflix, let's sit down with Spotify, let's sit down with Fortnite, bro. How the fuck you take down Fortnite? Like, how the fuck you not sit down with Fortnite? Those guys are generating billions in in-app purchases. Like, how the fuck do you not sit down with these companies and come to some sort of agreement? They're strong arming. They're strong arming the big guys, and they're strong arming us, the small guys. So it's like it's just one swift policy that they have. But for us, like, man, those guys fall under the in-app purchases. All those guys do. Netflix falls under the in-app purchases guidelines. You built your app knowing what the guidelines are. Your movies, your videos, Spotify, your music, everything is consumed inside the app. Like, y'all, I love y'all. I support y'all in your fight against, antitrust and all that kind of stuff. I think there's some other layers on top of this that are just not really. I mean, it doesn't make sense for Apple Music to have a competing app, and Spotify has to pay, give Apple 30% of their revenue of their. It's completely like monopoly. Like that's setting up Spotify for failure for the future. You know what I mean? So I understand those kind, and then also Netflix has the competitor with Apple Plus now. Like Apple is introducing their own competing products to compete with their own developers. So I understand they have a different fight. I don't think it's about the in-app purchases. For them, it's not about the in-app purchases. But if you're looking at just like I honestly as well, if Apple Music didn't exist, if Apple Plus didn't exist on the video side, if those platforms didn't exist, and the subscription gaming service that they're also competing with, with the game developers as well too, didn't exist, I don't think all these developers would have a problem giving a percentage of their in-app purchases, because they're not having to compete with the actual device owner, But I support them in their fight. But for us, man, like, we don't violate the guidelines. So don't lump us in with all these massive, like, content digital corporations. Don't lump us in with that. We're not, I think our case is a little bit more fringe. You know what I mean? I think they're just taking a very aggressive, like, response to us, and we're going to have to speak up and fight for it, man. Like, it's just one of those things that we can't keep silent. We have to stick up for our creators. Like I said, at the end of the day, BeatStars has no skin in the game. We don't even make a penny from these transactions. It really doesn't fucking matter to us, but it does, because it affects our community. We care about our community. We care about our artist community. We care about our producer community, and we want to make sure that there's a free and open place where our creators can build businesses and make a living with doing what they love, bro. So 30% really stunts the ability for a lot of creators to, like, accelerate, financial independence. It's tough.
So the comedian I manage, Big Joe, he has an app that's more of just like a membership. You get access behind the scenes, early access to videos and stuff like that. All the stuff that is a benefit is consumed on the app, so it falls under the 30%. However, if people sign up on the website first, then it doesn't fall under the 30%. Is there any, not that you guys can have the same workaround, but is there any other? That's why even though most people do, because it's convenient to sign up within the app, like, of course, they're going to download the app, like, oh, okay, now I can get access. Very few people, like, actually go to the website first, sign up, and then download the app. Is there any other workarounds other than the ones other options other than the ones you've laid out that is something like that? It's probably not ideal for a user experience, but can avoid paying the 30%.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never, on the web and mobile web, our creators will always, for sure, 100%, no doubt about it, as long as we control that, those platforms, are, creators will always earn 100%, So, but if they make the purchase there and they want to access their purchases inside the app, yeah, that could be something. But I know Apple, and they're going to say, hey, what you're doing on the web needs to exist on the app, and so you can't take away purchasing. I know what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to force us to a point where if we don't incorporate it, they'll shut down the app. You know,
that's all bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really. I mean, it doesn't sound like there's. I mean, outside of just having legal. There's really not much that can be done. But you're saying that Google Play, they haven't approached it yet, but you think that they're just waiting on the sidelines to see what happens, and then they'll.
Exactly. That's what they always do. Same thing with Fortnite. Like they saw Apple took down Fortnite, then Google did the same thing. Google just waits on the sidelines.
That's all bad. Has there been anybody? Has there since your tweets, you were going in, you were cussing in the whole line.
I'm sorry, man. I keep it real, bro. I just I leave my emotions on my sleeve. I can't. I don't know. I'm not your ordinary CEO.
Does that ever get brought up in these discussions? Like, hey, I mean Apple's huge, so I don't.
Man, they get cussed out every single day. These guys are used to being cussed out. You know what I mean?
So you don't think that whoever you're negotiating with, like, they don't see what you're doing? If they did, they could talk to me. We could talk about it. You know what I mean? But man, listen, it's more about, like, I think the tweet was, I had to make it vulgar and I had to make it very clear, because I wanted our community to know what so many companies are always doing shit behind the scenes, right? They're always like changing their business models behind the scenes. They're always like, oh, this bad thing happened behind the scenes, and we don't really know how it affected us. And I've always been the CEO that's always involved our community in everything. Like when our big hack happened, I went live and told everyone, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm, bad or good, I want our community to know, because it affects them, man. Right. It affects them. I would want to know. I would, if I'm a producer on Beatstars, I would want to know, it's Payne's livelihood. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I'm playing background, decisions or background, like, things that are affecting our community, like our community always has a seat on the table with us. Like, it's never just making decisions, To me, it's just another reminder, and people are probably like, here goes Dame again talking about data. But it's like, it's just another reminder when you build a business on anybody else's platform. Yeah. Like there's some risk. There's definitely some risk involved. But like, if DJ Payne 1 launched an app right now called DJPayne1Beats.com, DJ Payne 1 Beats in the App Store, they're going to take 30% from him. It doesn't matter. But I know in that app store, we don't have any control over the rules that they set, and just know that going into it, right? Yeah. Like, and it's so in context, from revenue standpoint, the apps are only maybe 1/4 of total revenue. Okay. So it's not going to, I don't feel like it's going to cripple completely the business. Like, we're going to do probably close to 80 million this year. Oh, for Beatstars, it's 1/4 of the. I thought you were talking about for Apple. I'm like, no, it's got to be smaller than that. No, yeah, for Beatstars, like, for our producers probably earn 1/4 of their revenue inside of the app. Sure. I thought it was half. Didn't you say it was half earlier? Visitorship. Oh, got you. Okay. Yeah, just like visitorship. But I think a lot of what's happening is, I think a lot of our community people, because they're always on their desktops and inside the studio, they'll favorite a beat inside the app. They'll playlist it or something. They'll add it to their collections, and then they'll go on the web and make the purchase, because they need to download the files and put it in their DAW, right? So. So we're talking about probably a much less than 25% impact in actual revenue, because most people, even if they just can't buy it within the app, most people are going to find it on the desktop or their Mac. Exactly. I think if we remove purchasing, it'll probably impact maybe 10% total, because I think
I think folks will still go to the web to download it. Still go to the pro page. Still go to all these other destinations where they can find the producer. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't. The thing is, I don't think I'm not scared to the point where it's like, oh God, this is going to cripple the businesses for our producers. I don't think so. I really don't think so. But it's more about principle, man. This is like principle. It's about principle. It's about like, yo, if you're gonna have guidelines, Apple, you're a big corporation. Like, don't be wishy-washy. Don't be wishy-washy. Like, is BeatStar? We can't even afford to be wishy-washy. When we say we do something, we do something. When we can't backtrack. And we're nobodies compared to these guys. Like, you guys are major corporate. That's what these big ass companies, they get so big that they can play around with the rules whenever they want.
Yeah. Well, and that's the issue. I think we touched on this with regard to streaming, right? So for example, when Amazon jumps into the streaming world, they have a huge advantage over Spotify. Because Spotify's entire revenue model is based on streaming, whereas Amazon's is based on everything else. Apple's the same way. They're going to sell if all they have is iPhones and other physical products, they're generating billions of dollars a year no matter what. They don't need the App Store. But I think what's funny is
I think I read something about Apple's revenue. Like, Apple Music is only like 2 or 3% of total. Yeah. Apple's revenue, so it's like
and they don't
give a fuck about Apple Music. They just did it to compete with these guys.
Right.
Well, I think
they pay more, I think, than Spotify.
But I think they see an opportunity. I think we just need to realize that obviously, you care about the creators, and Apple cares about their shareholders, right? So we're making decisions based off of the audience that we need to cater to, that they need to cater to. And that's always going to be the case, because these technology companies don't really understand or care about the creative community, right? They're waiting for their next earnings report or whatever, to satisfy shareholders. So I think that's always going to be the tension. So it's unfortunate, but continue to keep us updated, because it's
for sure, man, for sure. And just a message to producers. I hear people saying, "Oh yeah, I gotta," that's why you're not supposed to sell beats on BeatStars. You got to do your own thing. I'm like, we give you the tools to do your own thing. Like, we want you to do your own thing. We want you guys to build your own businesses, your own brands, your own web, your own. That. Don't stop doing that. Don't rely on us for your livelihood, of course, but we're going to contribute in a major way to it. We're going to contribute in a major way to it, but with everything you do, it's just pain. It's just one of those things you always. You're
always going to hear it, and it's one of those things where you think, all right, so what is a full BeatStars membership cost a year? $19.99 a month, right? Yeah. And for what's the yearly cost?
Like $178.
Yeah, so you're for $178 a year. You're running a full-fledged business with zero commissions, unlimited hosting, unlimited bandwidth, a million different merchant options.
Your own white label.
And a built-in audience, searchability.
But
your own white labeled website. Like, we don't.
Yeah.
But that complaint has no legs to begin with, because this is not a BeatStars issue. Like, if they find an app that they can sell beats through, like, they're gonna have the same issue. Or if you build your own, they're going to have the same issue. So it has nothing to do.
Like, even just like you said, like when you put the Big Jaw app up, even though he's a single company, he's just one guy and putting up content, you still had to abide by the in-app purchases rules that they have. So
right. So
yeah.
It definitely shouldn't be an attack on BeatStars, because you guys didn't do anything differently, and there's not another option where you can not have to pay the 30% if you're selling beats through the app. Like, so that's just stupid to begin with.
Well, there's a lot of stupid people in the world, damn, if you haven't figured that out yet.
I'm very well aware. So I don't know if this episode was more entertaining. There's the funny thing about that comment. I mean, we get that from time, and I understand I'm not Joe Budden.
He was about to go. All right.
No, hold on. No, but the funny thing about that comment, I was like, okay, let me click through this cat's content and see how entertaining he is. he was drier than shit. Like drier than dry shit. Like it was terrible. All he was doing was talking to the camera, and he had like a little flaming fire emoji like in the bottom pane. When you edit this video, can you please put a flaming fire emoji like in the bottom left? And
I'll put 20 because that's your current world star hip hop rating.
Exactly. So like he wasn't like he was hella monotone, like no movements. Like all he had was a flaming fire emoji that had a little twinkle in the corner. And
that's the problem. That's the problem with our society today, man. We want to be more entertained than actually like absorbing information and knowledge. Like what's more important? Like what are we prioritizing in our fucking lives today, man? I'm fucking sick of this shit. But like, I'm really tired of it.
It's good feedback. Like I think if our intention was to be like a much bigger podcast, like, then I mean, I would like to be a bigger podcast, but I'm not trying to like step out of myself to do that. But it's good feedback. It's something that's necessary. Like the shows that are on TV, the more entertaining, the more people
like the roast and review guy, right? Like he's entertaining with the technology stuff he does, like the way he engages and interacts and like comments and like that stuff is fun. That stuff is cool. I think bringing in your creators into your you guys are listeners into your into what you're doing is fun. I think that's always fun to like engage with them, right? But to change your whole personality, like change who you are, I really don't understand that part.
Well, on that note, we are interactive every Monday and every Thursday on BeatStars Live, beatstars.world or beatstars.live. It goes down at 3 p.m. Dame's on Monday, I'm on Thursday, and it's free. It's an entire music business mentorship program that lives on the internet, that is free. It's accessible to all who have an internet connection, and it's completely interactive. So we are interacting, and it's not just me on there. Like I have, BusyWorks coming on today. I have two buddy coming on next week. So we're having these conversations with people who are involved in the chat.
I want to say something because a lot of people will, I've seen people hate on BusyWorks, and I want to dead something right now for him because every producer, every young producer, even the last 5-6 years, every producer that I've talked to and gotten to know has told me that if it wasn't for BusyWorks teaching them the ins and outs, the processes of making a beat on YouTube, they wouldn't even be following this path. BusyWorks, people need to respect that dude because he gave his time, his energy, his education, his expertise, and he did it the best way he can. And he really impacted such a young community of creators over the last few years that a lot of these guys are now eating and making a living because they learned how to make beats from BusyWorks beats, And so shout out to him, man, because I think people get like, I don't know what it is, man. Like they think these YouTubers, people on YouTube giving away information for free is just like, yeah, you're supposed to do that. Like it's just that entitlement. Like you're supposed to teach me how to make a living. You're supposed to teach me how to make music. Man, these guys put their hearts and everything into these products, these videos to teach you guys. Like they're impacting your lives more than you really know, than you really realize. And guys like that, for us, he's helped our community in such a big way. So shout out to BusyWorks, man. Can't hate on him, man.
Yeah, I just pray that everybody who thinks it's the easiest thing in the world to create this kind of content is able to find enough success so that they're in a position where people are looking at them as though it's their duty to spend, hours of their day helping and explaining to very difficult audiences. I think the aspiring music professionals are a very difficult audience to engage and to convey information to, because it's not like you're in a school setting. It's not like you're in any kind of structured setting at all. People walk in with their misinformation and with a lot of aggression and a lot of resistance to good information. And so it's difficult. We're still trying though, Mondays and Thursdays on BeatStars Live. Yeah. Once again, this is the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. Shout out to you, Abe, from beatstars.com for joining in. Also shout out to Dame for being a role model for my current beard situation.
All right, y'all. Peace.